Today, before beginning, like this kind of content, check out the links in the description. This person we're talking about here, they create comic books. They're in the mainstream. Well, we're actually trying to create alternatives. So check out the case of the littlest umbrella. More on that at the end of the video. So today, I want to return to a subject that the media will never let die. And that's one Gamergate. Because it's always good to have a boogeyman. And this boogeyman, well, you can attach it to anything. Get a little blowback to something that you've been saying, have a little bit of mud kicked on your trousers. It's Gamergate's fault. While people that were involved in it laugh off the idea of a Gamergate 2.0, the media, they never ever let something like that die out. Now, all of this attaches to one ZOE QUINN, who decided the other day to come out and accuse someone, again, without anything other than the weight of accusation, saying that this person abused them. Now, it was hard to read because, of course, this person has specific pronouns, but when you go through and you look at all of the accusations there, you'll notice one overriding theme, that there's nothing to substantiate them. Again, accusation equals substantiation. Still, because that's out there, person ends up losing their job because, hey, that's the internet these days. Now, during all of this, ZOE QUINN, of course, gets blowback. When she does, well, you don't blame that on one random person or say that it's, another person out there having a certain opinion. Nope, they blame it on Gamergate. That's what this entire Salon article is about. And it's something that I find rather interesting because this article, it doesn't stand alone. There are dozens of articles that really reflect this point. So let's get into this. First, you have your breakdown. 5 years ago, an angry young man, furious about being dumped by his game developer ex, wrote a blog post full of kinds of sexualized accusations abusive men make when trying to ruin women's lives. So you can see how that's framed. They go on to tell you that thing, it turns into Gamergate. And of course, they used ist and faux words because, hey, that's what they do. What happened next has been documented in my 2008 book, Troll Nation. So, of course, they try to sell on top of it because one thing you need to understand, when you have that veritable boogeyman, well, it sells really, really well. And Gamergate, you attach it to something, you attach that stigma. Oh yeah, you can definitely sell on it. But Gamergate going big time didn't mean it went away. Now that link there, again, it's one of those articles that I was talking about. It's actually a Slate article. I found that kind of interesting. 5 years on, they continued. The whole thing may be gearing up again because the person who was the original target of an angry ex-boyfriend, game developer ZOE QUINN, has come out with another accusation, this time against Alec H., a game developer who worked on projects like Night in the Woods and Aquaria. So, on Tuesday morning, they go on, Quinn, who uses gender-neutral pronouns, tweeted out a harrowing story alleging that during a short-lived relationship, Alec basically trapped them in his house in Winnipeg, promising Quinn he'd buy them a ticket home, but reneging when that actually arrived. During this time, Quinn alleges that he subjected them to extensive abuse, both emotional and seemingly physical. She relates the thing that's below here, and interestingly, they leave out a lot of things that are also related in that. Things that could sound like her being responsible for abuse. But hey, let's not get into their tale. Let's not ruin that. You can see he jammed his fingers inside me and walked me around the house by them when I told him it hurt. So you can see that's the accusation there. Quinn alleges that they were only able to return home after a roommate using accrued frequent flyer miles bought Quinn a ticket home. Salon reached out to both of them and got no reply. Immediately after Quinn published these tweets, though, the awakened forces of Gamergate, they went after Quinn, accusing them of lying. So you notice again the pronoun. You'll see this. Again, it's a little bit confusing because you're going to see them a lot. You see, it says, continuing, Quinn has accused more than one man of abuse, including Aaron G., who the man who started all this with his slut-shaming blog post in 2014. So, of course, this isn't the first time this stuff has happened. This isn't the second time this stuff has happened. This, well, it seems to be that well that we keep going back to. And again, if there's any blowback, Gamergate. Me even making this video, I'm sure, would be called by these folks Gamergate. Because, hey, why not? Because of this, it goes, Gamergaters have decided that Quinn must be making all of this up to gain attention because it's preposterous to imagine that someone has been abused by two different people in the course of a lifetime. Then they go over random tweets. And I always love this approach because you can find any idea that you want to project. If you go in, you look at random Twitter posts or you look at random posts with articles, you will find something that will reflect that. And that's what they do. They go, they find some rando out there, and well, boom. Also, I would say many people, again, not accusing this particular place of it, but many people, they'll go out and they'll create accounts to say what they want too. Oh, did you see that account with no followers that said X, Y, or Z? Well, that totally wasn't me. But you see their quotes here, and of course that proves everything. I mean, you even get here is a typical commenter on Kotaku in action, a forum on Reddit that has kept the Gamergate spirit alive for the past 5 years. So, again, people have opinions. Of course, that's got to be, well, the old drill. To bolster claims that Quinn is a repeat false accuser, many Gamergaters floated the claim that Quinn once claimed to have stabbed someone. Despite much searching, Salon could find no evidence that Quinn has ever made such a claim in public. Just many instances of Quinn haters claiming that they heard the story from someone else. Interesting, not going back to the source material for stuff. But again, why would Salon do that? I mean, Salon, they are the place that brought up people like Todd Nickerson. So why would they bother with that? It's easy to dismiss all of this as the jabbering of misogynists, which it absolutely is. But the sad truth is that these particular misogynists are reflecting a more broadly held notion, which is that a woman who makes multiple accusations is probably a liar. Call it the Highlander theory of abuse. For any given victim, there can only be one man who has ever hurt them. Now, this is an absurd thing to say. Perhaps, just perhaps, people are talking about ZOE QUINN. Perhaps they're not talking about women in general. They're talking about one woman specifically. Again, that doesn't matter to these people because one woman equals all women. Unless it doesn't fit a certain narrative, then it doesn't matter. And then they take away womanhood. But hey, any kind of thing will do. But let's continue on. In reality, though, being abused multiple times is quite common. So they go through their research numbers for that. They talk about Quinn's situation here. She alleges that. And again, the problem with a lot of this stuff is the fact that you don't have to have anything to go with allegations. You have, again, substantiation in allegation. That's pretty alarming. So they go through, look, another reason that this happens is bad luck. Abuse is common, really common. So they go through there. They talk about all of that. They talk about who the guy, again, was that started that out. And another insidious talking point ginned up by Gamergaters was that Quinn must be doing this for attention. Because Again, you cannot question people like Quinn. They can question other people. They can aim whatever they want at other women. They can aim it at anyone out there. But man, that turnabout, oh no, oh no. Quinn has posted accusations against the person in response to artist Natalie Lawhead earlier accusing Skyrim composer Jeremy Soule of, and I'm going to leave that word out. According to Gamergaters, this means Quinn is trying to steal Lawhead's thunder because in the bizarro world of misogynists, coming out about abuse is what women do for fun. Now, what they're talking about in this is there's actually 3 accusations that have come out recently talking about this stuff. And this is their way of putting it together and talking about even in the hashtag #MeToo movement era. Well, look at what happens, because again, Gamergate. This is in line with what has been happening over the past couple of years with hashtag #MeToo movement, and frankly is applied in the name. Victims of abuse find strength in numbers, and when one person tells their story, that often inspires others to come forward. Nothing about this is unusual, and it certainly is not evidence that the allegations are false. It also isn't evidence that the allegations are true. Let's not leave that part out of there. Right? That allegations do not in themselves mean anything. But, of course, why would that matter? Now, there's no way to adjudicate the truth of Quinn's allegations at the moment. But you notice that, we can't actually figure out that they're real. But, and they continue with, the Gamergate pile-on is a troubling reminder that we live in a time of maximized comfort over these gendered issues. So abuse is a gendered issue too. Very interesting there. Very interesting indeed. On one hand, marginalized people are speaking out in greater numbers. And of course, remember, Quinn is marginalized because, hey, you saw the pronouns out there. Well, you saw that indeed. But continuing, demanding not just equality, but accountability for the various ways that men use the cover of privacy to enact oppression in the most personal of ways. Read that sentence again to yourself. Just read over that and see how that comes across. On the other hand, there's an equally robust movement of people who will use low tactics like dishonesty and bad faith arguments in order to reassert the male privilege of abuse without accountability. So, again, if you go out and you question something, you say, hey, let's wait for due process. What you're doing there, you're using quote unquote bad faith arguments in order to reassert male privilege. Isn't that beautiful? Then they work in Trump here. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? And not only that, we saw it on this scale of national scale, rather, that Trump won in 2016 largely because communities like Gamergate saw in him as a way to shut down the internet-aided rise of feminism, Black Lives Matter, and other social justice movements. Wow. So Gamergate got Trump elected even. Not only is Gamergate shutting down Quinn, but got him in office. Basically put the president in. I hope they're proud of that, by the way. I hope they're proud of that. They go on through that, too, saying that, there's basically a professed sexual predator in the White House. And, well, look forward. Look at that because, of course, see what he gave rise to as well. Oh, man. But yeah, this is them. They also market their book right there at the end of it. And read the whole title of it, Troll Nation, How the Right Became Trump-Worshipping Monsters Set on Rat Effing Liberals, America, and Truth itself. So anyway, you tell me about what you think in this article. What do you see here? There's a few of these out there, too. I find them to be rather interesting, rather telling, about certain mindsets. But it's interesting. Like I say, we laugh at people who try to bring Gamergate back to the front. We laugh at these people, when they're Gamergaters themselves. But the media, they can't have this die out. They need it because if you have that useful boogeyman, again, why ever let it drift away? We see that with them talking about, ooh, look at those Nazis, look at those alt-Rikers, look at those IS, those phobes and what have you. Despite the fact that we have societal changes, despite the fact that we have women and we have quote-unquote marginalized voices speaking out against this same stuff, well, you got to lay that on the back burner because, hey, if you don't, then anyway. So let me know what you think about this. If you like this kind of content too, check out the links in the description. Make sure that you're subbed, make sure that you hit that bell, but also check out the case of the littlest umbrella. This is basically our answer to the insanity the mainstream has put out there. And the person that we're talking about in front of you, they're represented heavily in the mainstream. Right now, Marvel's picked them up. DC has already picked them up before and failed. And you're going to continue seeing that. Basically, these are the new voices of an industry that's going to die. So when we go out and we create something, yeah, we get blowback for it. But, it has to be done. So check out those links. Give me your comments, pro or con. Hey, maybe you agree with this article. Let me know what you think about it. And ending it, I want to thank you for showing up. So many of these industries forget exactly who pays the bills, who keeps the lights on. Well, don't want to be like that. So you just showing up, supporting this endeavor. I appreciate that. And well, we'll be doing this again soon. So thank you.